Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. This is Neil with Portal to Ascension. Happy whatever day it is today. It is Saturday. Hope you guys are doing beautifully. And actually, it's 111 of the 27th year of this millennia. So happy 111 to everybody. And excited for today. If you guys are tuning in yesterday, we had Adam Apollo. Today we have Vivian Chauvet. Pretty soon we're going to have William Henry. And I'm excited to get deep into it because yesterday with Adam's conversation, we covered so many different topics, including, which always this is the way it works, perfect segue into the next conversation, which we spoke about the Arcturian dragon connection. So if you guys did not check that out, go ahead and check it out because I thought it was really beautiful. We really went deep into what this really means because what's alive for me right now is making all of this information practical to assist in my own empowerment and the empowerment of every single person. And it's not just knowing our cosmic origins of what's going on in space. It's really going into the inner wormhole, if you will, into the inner singularity and seeing what we can do to release those things that are holding us back from even becoming a galactic community. So today it's great because we have Vivian Chauvet, the galactic ambassador herself. And so we'll be getting into the cosmos and really what does this mean and who she is. But first, I'm going to go ahead and bring on my co-host Susan Ross in 1 second here, and we are interviewing people from the Sedona Ascension Retreat, Sedona Ascension Retreats with an S.com, and this is an annual event, 10th year in Sedona with some amazing speakers: Vivian Chauvet, William Henry, Billy Carson. We have Adam Apollo and a lot more. So I'm going to bring Susan on and she can say hi and tell you more about it. So let's do it.
Good
Hey,
morning,
Susan.
all. Happy Saturday. How are you, my
You. I'm
friend?
doing good. Good to see you.
Good. You too. And yes, it is 1:11 at 11 Pacific time. Of course, there's Vivian coming on. It has to be all
Yep.
magical, mystical. And yesterday we were talking about the Arcturians and the dragons, and I wanted to interject, that I feel very connected to the Arcturians and had a missing time experience that
Mhm.
under hypnosis ended up being Arcturian. And then my sister is very much into the dragon. She has dragon tattoos and she's always with her dragon team. And so I just thought that was kind of cool how, like, I'm Arcturian, she's dragon, and there's this like Arcturian dragon connection. So
Wow.
maybe, right?
Yeah, that's deep. I feel like because what Adam was sharing was about the dragons and how they hybridize the two beings together. There might be something there going on with you and your sister, right? With the
Because
soul group.
we've been told by multiple psychics that we are twin souls, that we are actually two seeds from the same egg, kind of, two souls from the same egg seated,
Yeah.
and then my father had a missing time experience when he was 18 years old. And that was an incredible experience that changed his life dramatically. And he actually had an embedded triangular shaped metallic object under his wrist from there
Oh,
on after. And then after that, of course, he had my sister and I. And so and I was born in Shasta. So we've always felt like,
wow.
there was some star heritage. Something happened during that, experience when he lost 4 hours of time that, maybe gave us some of our star lineage. With the Arcturians and the Draconis or dragon, So yeah.
Whoa. That's very interesting. Yeah, I'll be interested for you to have a QHHT session and to go deep and see if you can regain some memories.
Me too. I had a hypnotic session. Do you know Lori McDonald? She's pretty
No.
well known. She's president of Opus, which is an organization for paranormal support. Um, but yeah, under hypnosis, it was revealed that, I was connected into the Arcturians, back when I was 29, right before a major life-changing experience, and then during that missing time experience in 2017 in Sedona with two friends.
Yeah.
And so I would like to have one with Sarah Brestman, Cosme.
Yeah. She's epic. So amazing. So that's interesting that there's a lot of overlays here with our connections, and that's probably got something to do with why we're coming together right now to support each other, you know?
Yes, exactly. And Vivian is well aware of my Arcturian connection, and we call each other Arcturian sisters. Of course, she is an Arcturian hybrid like no other on this planet. So, without further
Yes.
ado, you want to bring her on?
Let's bring Vivian on. Yes. Hey, Vivian.
Hello, Neil. Hello, Suzanne. Such a
Good to
joy
see
to
you.
be with both of you. Thank you so much for having me today.
It's a
Ah, I
joy to
love
see you
you,
too.
sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love you
So
too.
I would love to, I was thinking about what to speak about today, and I felt like a good place to start would be, when we hung out in Colorado a couple years ago, and you were explaining to me, that's the first time I met you, you were explaining to me what exactly your makeup is, like where you come from and how it manifested. And it's not really a hybrid. It's not per se an Arcturian hybrid. It's pretty much an actual being, and even this maybe some genetic things with you as well. So could you explain, um, like exactly how you came about, and are there other people like that on the earth?
It's a fantastic question, and I love the avenue, given the fact I could listen to both of you sharing and what is happening. It's just to show us how much we can go deeper now, and with the new cosmic gateway, we can go into so much more. The frequencies are finally reopening. So when I first be introduced to the public eye, the energy around it, we always thought about how can we introduce myself, how can I bring myself about in a way that will be maybe gentle at first to accept and recognize. So we utilize some linguistic words or semantics. Say, okay, Arcturian hybrid. The word hybrid or the umbrella of the energy of hybrids were start to get more recognized even 12, 13 years ago as, it was almost like a doorway of conscious understanding and, being able to relate and start to get that energy going. But to your point, Neil, is I am beyond a hybrid. So what happened is that if you look at the ancient civilizations of the Arcturians, is that we are known to be great diplomats and ambassador throughout the multiverse. So we are working with a multitude of other species. World Star Regency councils. We're part of so many, we're involved in so many branches in the multiverse. So whether it's, Syrians, the dragons, and others, we are really much involved. So when we looked at the synchronicity of the unfolding of timelines, and we're very master of timelines, whether it's from a quadrant, whether it's a civilization, whether it's an alignment in the multiverse, we look at what probability of timelines are about to unfold, and each timeline will bring a certain potential. So as I mentioned before, when our council of light and then our elders says, okay, we have consulted with, the great central sun, the solar beings, and others, and we can see that the earth quadrant is entering a much higher potential for initiating what we call the reascension process. And so we look at beyond sending some of our people in the form of star seed essence on the planet that will take on a humanoid form, or they will go through the birth process as you know it here and go through the earth process of entering the birth canal and all of this. I i wanted to retain and be the purest aspect of who I am, to be able to bring the essence of my being, these pure energy that we oscillate, these frequency that we are so known well in the multiverse for. It would have been impossible for me if I had returned as a star seed or a soul emanation or a fractal of an aspect of my Arcturian self and go through the birth canal, go through the birth process, and bring in all the trauma that comes with it. And that's one thing we see with the star seeds, and they have to clear and heal themselves from those of these traumatic events, how they came about on this planet. So we look at the advanced Arcturian technology that we have and what we have masters in terms of high light frequencies, holographic technology, and so forth. So we decide to create an hologram, a hologram that will be capable of sustaining biological life and a consciousness. And then that hologram will be appear just as solid as you are. You're relatable. You see me walk, talk, drink water, the whole nine yards. That's like very, very relatable. So what he did is that through the mastery and the scientist mind of the Arcturians, we start to create. The other thing about that is that the project was going well. However, we noticed that that physical form of that holographic form would not be necessarily sustainable within a density or within a planet like Gaia in a such density, and to be able to sustain whether it's the electromagnetic field of Gaia, whether it's the vibrational energy of the density third dimensional reality. There was a lot of different obstacles that we had to overcome in order to allow this vessel to be viable. And this is when we start to have a beautiful soul to soul direct connection with a specific human lineage. And that lineage is, we've been in communication with this lineage for generations, whether it's great great grandparents and then grandparents, parents. I mean, it's like generations of communication. And the way we initiate communication, it's always through soul agreement. It's always in the sense of partnership, collaboration, leading up to even through my grandparents to that human lineage who agreed on both sides to be part of this project. And then, of course, the two soul agreement we have with who you will call my mother and my dad, and in this lifetime and this on this planet, they would say, yeah, we're going to take that hybrid child and we're going to be the caretaker. We're going to be the one taking care of her here. So it's been very beautiful partnership. And the other reason why we did that is because I wanted to bring a more direct connection to Gaia. I wanted to have that Gaia energy to be able to be a more effective, compassionate bridge between the human race and not only just the Arcturians, who I profoundly represent, but a multitude of other species and interspecies that coexist in the multiverse. And we'll talk about that today. We can go to see how many of them are so eager to reconnect with the Earth humans. So I wanted to have that Gaia genetic or that Gaia conscious connection within the holographic template, which is why we decided to collaborate with a very specific human lineage that we have been monitoring and communicating for many generations leading up to today. And one of the fun thing about that, just to bring in a sparkle of, heart energy and love and friendship, is during World War II, and this really big era on the planet, on my human mother's side, my grandfather, who is also part of course, a collaboration with us, well, he was sent to the war as a soldier, frontline soldier. So the high probability of him not coming back was phenomenally high. So we knew that if that were to happen, then it would disrupt the timeline that we were creating to be for me to be able to return to the planet. So what they did is that they watched him very closely. And as a result of this, not only did he come back and relatively healthy and mentally and emotionally quite in alignment, he was telling me story about missing time where he were walking in a certain, let's say, trenches or place. Let's say he was in a place in Germany, and next thing you know, he was completely in a different region, like completely opposite with a different platoon,
Wow.
and not knowing how he got there. And all his life, he was wondering about this. So how we came about, how I volunteered and I agreed to take on the assignment to come in and to hold the form or the essence to represent truly the true essence of who we are, has been a really an act of love and a dedication, because we knew that not only Gaia as a celestial being but the implication of our support through so many sentient life on this planet will be tremendous. And then, of course, protecting and overseeing over the timeline. The good news now, the timeline has come to a higher fruition. We are at that point. So when we talk about myself as are there others like me? Well, there are other star seeds. There's a lot of representative emissaries of light, but the way I chose to return on the planet is very in a unique prototype ways. It it's challenging, believe me. My challenge for me is to integrate my Arcturian holographic self in the human holographic consciousness. It's always been a great challenge. Not only that, but also to sustain in this physical template that needs so much care and upgrading. So I'm constantly on off planet, uh, getting upgrades. We have to readjust the template so many times. There's been time where the template was no longer sustainable, and then we had to upgrade it. And now I'm due to another upgrade. I can tell I have already uh, kind of overstretched the lifespan of my body. So it's it's a whole different approach of talking about ambassador, intergalactic origins, star seed, all of it. It's really it's another we brought in another layer, and it's to really to be of service for many species here who comes and experience these life, and how we are coming together now to really support that re-ascension, because it's a return. Ascension is a return into that higher form that many of us have already reached. I don't need to go to ascension. We've already ascended. I come from a place where ascension is it's a natural way of being, but we come here to re-implement the remembrance field and the pathway to that re-ascending again. So the implication is profound. I know this is so much bigger than me, and in spite of all the challenge and the, that we went above and beyond to bring the purity of an Arcturian being in living among another species. We normally don't do that. We go into our holographic light body. We interact directly with the consciousness of that species. But to be on the planet, it's a whole different ball game. So I hope that answered an aspect of your question.
Yes, that's honestly a standing ovation answer. That was incredible.
Thank you.
Like, thank you for breaking that down. I think that was the most the best way I've heard you explain it, because it's so concise and you brought it full circle. So much came up with that, and I took some notes on what you're saying, but and these get a little deeper. But the first thing I want to ask though is just to go into the mainstream UFO disclosure that's been happening, right? They in the first hearing in the last 2 years, the first major hearing, they asked who are these. One person even said that they think they're walking amongst us. So first question is, are you one of them technically walking amongst us? And then the other one is that they said, um, when what are these craft? Right? They're talking about the craft. And David Grush said we believe they're projections of higher consciousness, which to me is a holographic projection into this simulation, right? So when you're speaking about your holographic body in combining with our holographic reality, are you speaking about, in essence, you've been projected from this other reality into here? So maybe you're coexisting in that reality while you're projected here. Does that make sense?
100%. And that's that's the type of conversation that we need to have at this point, because now the consciousness on the planet is ready to embrace that. So I'm always coexisting as much as I am engaged on planet, as much as I am off planet. And if you listen to people who knows they are star seeds, they are connecting to their star nations or the frequency they represent, they will say, well, I know I saw my body in stasis, or I saw my body in pods, whether it's on mothership, scientific space station, as many of them that we collaborate with, whether it's back on their origin or the planet or star system. So I look into this, and some of these species or star nations, as we prefer to call them, when they came and sent out a fragment or an essence, a soul essence of themselves that we know as star seed, they understood that their original form, or the physical form that they were leaving behind, so to speak, will be either put in stasis or will be simply operating in parallel with this life here. So when I connect and I return back naturally to first my Arcturian fathership, we have a huge mothership that he is in charge of, and we have crew members from different star nations, not just Arcturians. I will simply reintegrate naturally my Arcturian self, and I converse with that part of myself. And so my body is not necessarily in stasis, it's very much, I would say, coexisting in parallel at the same time. And you would say, how is it possible? Well, it is possible because I am still the same being, and only an aspect of me or a projection of me is in this form. But to you, you would say you look a lot like a human. Well, that was the idea. That was a concept because we have attempted in the past to come in our natural form, and we have been shut down and denied, and either fear or adore like angels or gods. And we said no, we're not here to be gurus, we're not here to be gods. This is not the purpose of what we come to do. We have seen other races coming through, revealing their true self, their technology, their knowledge, and then religions create around that, or belief system comments around that, and then conflict and war, and then other things happen. So we want to avoid that. We're not here to implement a new religion or an adulation. We're here to inspire human beings to return to fully their potential of who they are. We see the future aspect of humanity coexisting with your present right now. So when you talk about simulation, well, what happened with the Earth quadrant is that a long, long time ago, this quadrant was put, especially Gaia, was put into an artificial time construct. So if you look at sacred geometry as you know it, base, 12 base, mathematic formula, scientific formula, all of this, it's all based on our artificial time frame. So now that you're starting to get emerging out of that artificial time construct, you're rediscovering new sound, geometry pattern, new shape in your DNA, new codons, new configuration. You're going to start to see how things are evolving, and you're going to start to understand more what holographic technology is really about. You're going to start to understand that even yourself in a human form, you have been into a construct to learn, and your soul is very aware of it, except that you grew fond to these forms, to these identities, and then you went through deep into that experience, and along the way forgot truly who you are. And so we're helping, like many others, very enlightened, spiritually oriented groups are coming to create a new pathway, or to generate a new pathway of what you call enlightenment. It's simply reascending step by step into rediscovering new form of realities. And that's part of the good news. There's so many species returning now. And in fact, I had a vision, if I may share, with both of you and everyone watching right now. At the end of what you call the linear time of 2024, going into a new year called 2025, we call it a new cosmic gateway. There's been an opening in the gateway. So I got a vision. I was told by my Arcturian father, we're going to show you something that you need personally to remember about yourself and for humanity. I said, okay. So we're going to lay down, make your physical form very comfortable. We're going to take you consciously in your holographic light form. So I did that, and I was out in my holographic light form, and I was taken into a room that looked like a huge spiritual gathering. It was an international, global spiritual gathering where many, many human beings have come. And in fact, Neil, I saw you there. And I saw you then, I saw other familiar faces there and many unknown. And so I came to the room, and my father was right behind me. And I said to father, I said, should I sit next to the human beings? They said, no, we have another seat for you. And what happened is that I saw this form-fitting seat. It looked like a love seat, but it was, in reality, it was a capsule. And those are part of the scout ship, the light ship that we have. So I sat into one of them, and I was still being able to communicate and see and look at humans coming together. And what was beautiful about this, both Susan and Neil, is to watch human beings sitting next to each other, even for those who seem to be strangers. They were all sitting next to each other into this beautiful, long, like the longest couch I've ever seen in my life. Everybody was sitting there with the symbology of human beings returning together, entering the same space, sharing a commonality, sitting next to each other without having to feel different or separated or having to imply that there's cultural differences or linguistic differences. None of this matter is they were coming together as a species. And
Mhm.
as many entered, I looked around me. I saw hundreds of other light pods coming into the field, and each of these light pods represent a new species or a new star nation. And so what that means is that what he told us telepathically is that there's many different species from different dimensions who are returning now, and they are starting to come in orbiting state around Gaia, and they are all of one desire. One. That desire, all in unification, is to make contact, direct connections with the human race. None of them are interested about your technology or how much, followers you have on Facebook and how many modalities you've learned. What they're interested is you. They want to learn to know about you, this living aura you carry, this energy that's emanation. You're the one, boots on the ground, so to speak, understanding the process of what it takes to elevate an entire planet as well as an entire civilization from a deep state of density and separation and polarization and false energy and being able to return to the state of grace. That energy, that capacity for true compassion, the capacity of your emotion, your capacity to love and to relate to one another, and as well as other life forms like animals, trees, flowers, elementals, all of it is what they have come to learn to reconnect with you. And so my delegation says, as an Arcturian ET being, I have been, and I know there's many point of contact, but I have been a direct bridge between the human race and these multitude of ET species of returning now, and their eagerness, the joy, the desire to reconnect on a multi-universal level. It's phenomenal. They want to initiate that conscious connection again, and that is the real core of what is called disclosure here. This is no longer about the textbooks, no longer about decoding, military documents and witness and craft. This is about really the consciousness connecting from one aspect of a consciousness reconnecting with another. It's soul essence exchange, it's understanding, recognizing to your genetic line that energy, that commonality, that point of connection that you have with these species from different dimensions, different places. And when I saw that, I felt such an immense joy, both for all the intergalactic groups returning, but an immense joy for Gaia and human beings to finally, after generation and generations of all souls returning to the planet, we are finally reaching this momentum. And for me, this is the part of the essence of what is transpiring right now. I hope you felt that.
I love that really the unity is what the major focus is for humanity through all of these different star systems. It sounds like, the star beings are also having the opportunity to come together united around planet Earth and the human population here. And so it's like an interdimensional, intergalactic, universal unification.
Beautifully said, Susanna, and I can feel what you said. Absolutely, it is. It is because as you're looking at Gaia as a celestial living being, her consciousness, we have been working with this being and many other celestial ones within just the solar system and others. She knows very well there's such a level of presence, and each and every one of us, whether it's through the multiverse or even on the planet, whatever species or star nations or celestial being you feel you represent, is that we are carry such a level of a fire aspect, a divine spark of creation. We are really coming to re-understand through this matrix of life, this living symbiotic life that we're evolving through, that we have such a level of connections. And I'll tell you one thing I've done, just recently. I offer every month free meditation to help people to get support, guidance, tools that they can have access 24/7 without any limitations. And one of the things that really was phenomenal is when we did a celestial gateway meditation, without knowing it, two gateways came during the meditation, and two of the highest orders of the gateways. One is called the Seraphim Gateway. We know the Seraphim represent these absolutely majestic being, angelic being of the highest form. And then the second gateway was the heart of source, right? Source energy, source language coming through this gateway, speaking of these profound planetary shifts and how the energy came to support everyone through not only that meditation, but what it represents. And when I see such level of manifested celestial being coming through, supporting us more, there's such a transcendence that comes with it. And what it shows all of us is that we are finally at that point of great metamorphosis where it is no longer necessary to hold on to the restricted, limited paradigm of fear, 3D energy, and all of this, that we are being invited to say, remember that we are here with you. Remember that you are part of this. You represent an aspect of it. And having these heavenly tones returning to the planet through the beautiful linguistic field of Gaia that resonate into each every being vibrational field, and to hear and to watch the seraphim beings coming in, speaking and singing the energy of the heart of source, the heart of source beating in every being, every expression. It's we're witnessing infinite, experiencing infinite in many shape or forms. So to come back into more practicality is when we gather together, through this phenomenal event in March that you put together so much every year, Suzanne, with the Ascension retreats, 10 years anniversary. It's an invitation to come together with the same source energy as many hearts are combining with each other. And each and every one of us bring such a unique expression, memory field, experience, wisdom, connections. Think of it as rays of light from the same prism of light, but each ray representing another a unique dynamic, and being able to approach it that way and feel like that is time to integrate his experience rather than to feed the mind and listening to a multitude of lecture and just gathering information. It's about the experience that we can co-create with each other. And and I was, part of another event going on in parallel right now called the Star Code Activations, and one of the speaker was talking about unity in the sense that, we're no longer putting barriers with each other, in terms of, competition and who is the biggest name, who is the biggest impact. It's about recognizing the beauty, the grace of who we are, and to says, I am inviting you to come and join us, and you inviting me to come and join you. And this is, I feel like, where we are now. And it's going to be important to embrace that more and more. And we want to talk about moving out of the third dimensional density and moving into a higher fifth dimensional frequency just as a placeholder, but you have to understand what is that frequency differences represent, the implication of it. So the way you present yourself, the way you think, the way you project, the way you feel, the way you talk needs to be also representing these new frequencies. So I think there's so much huge potential, and it's exciting. I don't know if you feel the excitement, both of you, but there's a grand rising, and I know I can tell you from a nocturne being who's been around for a long time, we are very ancient, and we have the capacity to stay in the same physical form or the same etheric body for a long time. It changed the nature of how you perceive time and wisdom and evolution. There's a patience, there's a fluidity that comes with it. And we wish that for everyone, and allowing all of us finally to be together and to say, how can I support you? How can I be of service? And also allowing myself to be taken care of as part of the equation. I love that we are finally stepping out of such a dualistic paradigm, even to a spiritual concept. There's so many concepts that is evolving now. The word healing is evolving into a new form. The word ascension is shifting and evolving in a new direction. How we meditate, the quality of it is shifting because we're receiving new level of refined frequencies on the planet that are going to allow all of us supporting each and every one of us in that refined quality, and how it's going to be an opportunity to become the embodiment of those refined frequencies. Does that resonate with everyone?
Yeah, 100%. One thing I love about you, Viviane, is you walk with so much love and compassion. You know, you are like, as Alan Steinfeld says often, you're the real deal. You know, and I feel that, and everything you said right now, it's just so inspirational, and you really are concisely putting together the whole plan from the science of what's going on to the awakening process, and it's so beautiful. So thank you for this medicine. And I want to go into now speaking about a few things here. We're going to connect some dots. You spoke about dimensions and beings from different dimensions coming. And something that I used to think about often for quite a few years is that there's a lot of ancient stories of Earth, and some of them seem to be happening at the same time, when it doesn't really even logically make sense how Earth could have been this and this at the same time. But if you think about it in parallel realities, maybe we're all coming from different dimensional realities where we have different Earth experiences, and now we're coalescing and collapsing timelines. So that's part of it. That's just the lead up to the question. Now, you spoke about reascension. Is this different or is this the same? Because it's a reascension. And what does that have to do with our artificial timeline? What do you mean by artificial timeline? What is time really?
It's all a great question. I'm going to have to go layer by layer to be able to let everybody integrate that. So let's talk.
I know you could handle that kind of question, so that's
Yeah,
why I
we
asked.
do. We do. So let's talk about you looking at artificial timelines. So I would say the proof is in the pudding. When you look at the way the calendar has been shifted, and if you look at the Earth history, or at least what you have access to, or I've been accessing so far, because there's going to be more new archives discovery. You can ask Gaia directly to her archives to show you the true history. Everything is encoded there. Every soul that has ever come to Gaia in any shape and form or any incarnation has what's called an earth soul crystal. A crystal is just an imagery, but it's almost like an etheric crystal that's called an earth soul crystal. And within Gaia's archives, everything has been ever said, felt, co created, shifted, manifested is encoded there. So when you look at all of these earth soul crystal, you can tune in to your own soul ancestry in terms of the multi lifetimes you may have had on this planet, even if it's the time of Atlantis or even before Atlantis. You have the ability to access that. So, just to give everybody empowerment and tools, you can tune into your heart, ask, clear your mind, open your field, be receptive, bring your higher self, and say, I wish to connect to my earth star, my earth soul crystal, and understanding the archives of my soul every time I came to Gaia or I reincarnate on this planet. So there's a way to do this. But in regards to the artificial time frame, it's complicated. It's part of so of the memories. It's part of our Arcturian archives. We do have documents or encoded around this. Let's just say that a long, 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 long time ago, when we knew that Gaia was designed or chosen to be an arc of life or a garden of life to sustain and bring in so many different genetic sample from either different species, different form of planets, or different even crystal encoding. So when Gaia was chosen as an arc, as in where it comes from the word Ark of the Covenant, as all this genetic encoding, what happened is that there has been interference or distortion during that creation. And let's just say that, just to keep it simple, that some being that coexists in higher dimensional presence or a different sphere of existence decided to implement what's called an artificial time frame based on the 12. So 12 dimensions, 12 chakras, all these 12 DNA strand, all of this. So that 12 base is what's called the artificial time frame. It was designed to help souls to experience it deeper what it feels like to be in limited physical form, to be able to understand choice, to be able to understand the self and what's called the lower me, to be able to understand all of these experiences, again, just to make it overall and simple. And so that artificial time frame was implemented a very long time ago with the intention to learn all of this. Unfortunately, over time, other things happen, different war on the timelines, dominion, one feels superior over the others. And then the Earth and the Earth quadrant was declared as the domain of a few. It sunk deeper into this artificial timeline, again, to make it simple and an overview here. And so what happened is that when you look at what took place even after Lemuria, Atlantis, ancient Egypt, it's even encoded in all the markings on the temples in Egypt. I've seen myself when you can see that some of this galactic ancient history and some of the more negative polarity based being came to the planet, and then distortion took place, and then the planet fell into such a level of density, then the veil of forgetfulness gets so thick, there's a feel of disconnect from source, and so forth, leading up to where we are today. But because to leading up to the word reascension, think about it, it's a return to. So anytime that we are dealing with a lower frequency or a lower form, it's always an invitation to bring or to teach this lower form to elevate itself into a higher form. So, for example, a shift from a dimensional experience from a polarized 3D linear time construct. That linear time construct is part of the artificial timeline. We are shifting out now of the linear time, that you no longer perceive yourself as, I have a past, this is my present, there's a potential future. I come, I live, I die, and that's it. I'm just, time is functioning in that linear manner. Well, in reality, you're rediscovering more and more than a spiritual concept or a theory, that you are multidimensional. So all what you call past, present, future is unfolding with you in the now, because you are multidimensional beings by nature. This is who you are. And even the multiverse has this quantum multidimensional presence to it. It's never linear. Linear time is a construct, it's an illusion. It's part of the artificial time frame. And again, to make it easy just to grasp the idea behind it. So we're now moving out more and more of this linear time construct into a more universal construct. We're returning into a more organic way of being in sync with the pulse of the universe. Start to feel things start to flow better, and to feel that your manifestation, your thought forms manifest clearer with more precision. We talk about the quality of this frequency returning to the planet. It's going to help more and more to feel, and even how your brain function, interpret time like neural pathways or the brain synapses, and how all of these functionality within the human template are shifting as well. The body is returning to a more higher functionality, clear conduit, opening the field to these refined frequencies. And that includes the nervous system as gateways of interconnection between your earth part of your journey through the universal part of you. So you also feel like time start to feel accelerated. Days start to feel like, wow, time is slipping through my fingers. While a 24 hours day feel like maybe like a 17 or 18 or 20 hours. That's because we're moving out naturally and organically out of this artificial timeline. And you're no longer influencing your 3D logic mind and your physical senses just to feel that I see what I see, I feel what I see, I taste what I taste, and everything is real here. So this is again as point of reference. The same thing with the linguistic field. The complexity of Gaia linguistic field is shifting, and that means that we're allowing new form of light languages, so source language coming back to the planet. Your ability to communicate is going to be also becoming more refined. And we need to also bring a more harmonized way of communication on the planet, because all of these gazillion dialects, language, and subdialects, and all of this was put in place a long time ago to separate human beings by segment so they can be monitored more easily. But it did, let's say, it did contribute to create more isolation. I mean, sometimes you want to go one country and you go to different county or village or town, and you're moving into 5 to 6 different dialects, and you say, how do you even understand each other? That is part of the false construct that needs to be clear and returning into a more universal way of communication. So it's all the positive, I would say, markers that we're seeing now, and how it's going to, really influence life here on the planet and even beyond this planet, and the implication behind these changes. So I think it's very positive, very exciting. And I don't know about you. I I am excited to be able to communicate with everyone on a more deeper level without having these, you know, multitude of barriers, whether it's the languages, accent, whether it's, upbringing, belief systems, and, how you perceive reality, and which leads to the other part, what you mentioned, Neil, is that yes, everyone is projecting a reality. So your reality, Susan's reality in mind right now is that we coexisting into a common point. We all agree to come together at this point. We all acknowledge the markers or the understanding of time allowing us to be together right now. But I understand when I tune to each and every one of you, I can feel how certain aspect of your connection, who you are, your experiences, what you brought at the soul level, your life experience, is influencing the perception of your reality. What we do, Arcturians, what we also very known for, we have the mastery of adapting ourselves to understand variation of realities depending of who we interact with and for what purpose. So of course, the word reality is another huge umbrella that it's really fascinating when you start to tune in and understanding what these experiences are truly about. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
Certainly. And thank you so much for giving us so much
Hmm.
hope for a future where we are more connected. I know that your presentation during our Sedona Ascension Retreat is called Interplanetary Communication, the New Genetic Consciousness. So, can you explain what you mean by genetic? consciousness.
Yes. We talk about genetic consciousness to first create a breakthrough beyond what has been accepted around the word consciousness. Again, we are opening the field. So, genetic consciousness, it really relates to accessing the new codons of reality or the codex that existing within the very original DNA template. So we're going to be working directly with the Lyrans, the masters, one of the original archetype or architecture of the human template, and how over years and decades of shift and genetic expansion and all of this, and how it creates today a brand new harmonic universe, a brand new harmonic field for Gaia, and how you can implement that in your life, how it can really help you to step into that advanced cosmic human aspect of yourself that will facilitate the integration of other aspects, whether it's recognizing how your own unique vibrational frequency really worked, how these genetic lines or these markers within you can be utilized in new ways. And we're going to activate also the Arcturian energy matrix to help people to have a deep sense of experience. So we work directly with your presence, we work with you on a multi-dimensional level, and we're helping to bring these multi lifetime within your own human holographic consciousness to better understand really much more that profound nature of who you are, just to make it and to really look at an overview in enhancing the quality of your interpretation of universal symbols, or how you can communicate in different form of, in your language, your soul language, for example, being able to connect with different extraterrestrial consciousness or celestial consciousness. And I mean, we're going to go beyond. We are redefining the boundaries. Are we redefining, what is possible and how we can together create a very cohesive, loving, uplifting, and yet super elevating, time together, known as a workshop, and how we can go to profound transcendence together. So it is time for us to go to the next level with all of you. I know many souls, old souls, star seeds, the masters of you who've come back to the planet. You can feel the calling, so dare to journey with us, and let's go beyond the known boundaries, and we can reach so much more. And we're going to bring in the consciousness of the planet and engineering. It's a time to engineer new realities and how we can do this. So it's just very much so. So I'm excited for this presentation. And thanks to you, Suzanne, I also going to have an outdoor journey. I know it's sold out right now, but I'm just excited about bringing a group of people. Thank you for those of you who signed up already into the positive vortex of, Sedona, and yes, bring with us in our presence, and who knows how many other beautiful interdimensional beings may come. Only that of the highest light, though. We only says only that of the highest light is welcome. So really excited to be back this year again for your fantastic event, Suzanne, and to be part of the 10th anniversary. Very much an honor. So thank you very much.
Oh, bless you and thank you. I'm so pleased that you're going to be there with your incredible journey and workshop and just elevating us to the next higher level of consciousness. And I even want to say just conscious awareness. It's an expanding of our awareness, right? And then like the language, I know when we astral travel, or like, people tune people into who they're being on other star systems, it seems as if we have the natural ability during these hypnosis sessions and or astral journeys to telepathically communicate with other star races, where we understand each other perfectly in these trance states, right? And so it'll be nice to be able to do that in a waking state. And also, when you read channeled material, a lot of times you'll hear these channeled beings say, well, we can only communicate to you within the limits of your language, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these, concepts they want to share with us, we don't even have the words for. And so it'll be nice to have, a futuristic way of communicating where we can explore advanced concepts in a universal language.
Well, it's the good news about this, Susan, and thank you for bringing this. And I know, Neil, I can feel your heart right now. It's beautiful. I really feel your heart very strongly. Just so you know, like, whew, this future aspect that you speak of, it's already a reality now. So it's about just to give yourself permission to say, I know what it feels like to communicate with another human being, a family member, and any state of consciousness. I know how to reattune that communication to be more flowing, opening, inviting. And this is what we have learned to do. I mean, I come from a place where we not use our mouth. I know my jaw, my mouth, we don't use that structure of ourselves to communicate. I have learned to adjust to it. I have learned how to utilizing my jaw, the movement, the vibration to the gums, the connections to the throat chakra, and all the implication on the physical level. And it's really exhausting, I can tell you that. So I come from a place where you are exchanging soul essence. It's no longer even telepathic communication. It's what we call holographic exchange. It's you exchanging your essence with each other. And we can assure you that as I've learned to perfect the linguistic ability here on this planet to communicate and directly transmit very specific frequencies and presence of many beings, that when we speak with you, this is more than one person talking. This is beyond the identity of Viviane Chauvet. This is my earth identity. And I kept that name because this is my connection to Gaia and to all of you. But when we speak, as you can feel, it's a multitude of presence, many of us utilizing this conduit to emanate and share with all of you our essence, our frequencies, our presence, who we are. And we have learned to perfect the vessels that we can utilize this linguistic language called English that is mostly recognized on the planet, which is why we chose this language, and to be able to provide a more streamlined form of communication. But the good news is that we can see that within the natural ability of who you are, you have the same ability. We're simply here to remind you of it. So think of us, this is what we like a future aspect, a placeholder for you that says, we've been in your shoes a long time ago. Now we come back in a much more direct fashion to allow all of you to remembering naturally the pathway that is already encoded within yourself, right?
Yeah,
You feel
yeah.
that, Neil?
Yeah, on some level, I feel that we are destined to become the masters of duality, and as Bashara said, masters of limitation, because we are truly masters, and we've mastered a challenge, and limitation was a challenge. And then as we do that, we then go out to the cosmos and teach others how to do it. And what you just shared is that you guys are doing that too, right? And in closing here, there's a couple things I want to piggyback on. In the Sumerian scriptures, the Tower of Babel was created in order to, at that moment, was also to separate the world based on language and culture, so they could not communicate with each other. Right? That's where the word babbling comes from. And then the prophecy is that when humans are able to communicate with each other again, that is the sign of this new age. And even like this technology now, I have this earbud that I can put in, and it translates in real time 17 different languages. And if
Wow.
somebody else puts it on, it's literally Star Trek. It's here. I have the first generation. There's two more generations that have come out, right? And then the other thing I've always wondered about, time accelerating, because to me, I'd never thought time was accelerating. I thought that stimuli is increasing and lessons are increasing in rapidity, rather than waiting a lifetime to be more than 2 miles away from your home, because for hundreds of years people didn't even leave their town, right? We're being bombarded with so much stimuli, so many occurrences, but you just added a whole other level to that. What you said was other senses are coming online, and because of these senses coming online, we're processing time in a way that seems like it's happening more rapidly. So, yeah, that's all. Thank you for sharing all of that. We're going to close out now, but I wanted to just share some chat messages, okay?
Okay.
This is a testament to the compassion and love that you are, Vivian. That there's been nonstop stream of love. We have like 150 people watching right now, and we have messages like "so touching," "I can't stop smiling," "yes, I feel that powerful," "peace and love to all," "feel the animals connecting with us on deeper levels," "so beautiful," "bring the magic sauce," you know. So I just wanted to infuse the aware the everybody else's experience into what's going on right now, you know. And thank you so much, Vivian, for just bringing that love, the heart centered, and really just inspiring not everybody who's watching, but also inspiring obviously Susan and myself as we do this work. Sometimes we need that inspiration to keep going, you know. So thank you for the reminder.
You are most so welcome, and I'm so very grateful to you, Neil, and Suzanne, both of you, for allowing us to be of service, to recognizing who we are without fear, without feeling intimidated, because we are recognizing your strength, your beauty, your uniqueness, and the power that you bring, which is unique to you. And so when we come together in this true strength of heart connection, the transcendence of what we can accomplish, it's a blink of an eye. It's available right here, right now. There's no need to, talk about it or meditate about it. It's already available to us in this moment. So thank you both of you and everyone who've been sharing such moving, deep messages and comment and feedback. We are truly here to be of service to the light, uplift an entire world, entire planet, and this is what we've been doing for thousands and thousands of years. And so this is when I chose to be more here on the planet with you rather than to stay in my Arcturian form and even transcend beyond that. So I chose to serve Creator that way, and it's a pleasure.
Wow, beautiful. Well, thank you for being of service, Vivian. Thank you for
Thank you.
coming down here and being the reminder for all of us. Love you.
Love
Thank you,
you
Susan.
too. See
Love
you
you.
soon, everyone. Love you too.
Okay.
See you soon.
Take care, everybody. See you next time.